All right, Kimberlyn is all about intentional solutions to live an inspired life. Her studio is a great space for semi-private classes and online as well. Let's see how she got Church Street with Dr. Kimberlyn Cahill. Just Kimberlyn is fine. Life's Work Yoga.
Yes.
So I love this little space.
Thank you.
And I don't mean little in a derogatory term. It's very cozy. It's very relaxing. Does everything I'm sure it's supposed to, which is great. How long have you been here?
I moved into this location in the summer of 2020.
Okay.
While everything was shut down.
Wow.
Yeah, so I moved in here because my former lease wasn't going to renew, and so we were shut down in the March of 2020, in which case everything was online anyway. But my kids were home, schooling from home. My husband was home, working from home, and I needed some space.
It's like the ultimate she shed, right?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Is that I moved in here because I needed to have.
Yeah.
Well, the truth of it came down to is when I was broadcasting my yoga classes, I couldn't control whether or not one of my kids dropped an F-bomb. Or the animals made some background noises.
I have that
and
issue.
So I was just like, I've got to have some space.
Yeah.
So during that 2 to 4 weeks when we were completely shut down, I was actually broadcasting from the master bathroom in my house. I kid you not, the camera was sitting on the back of the toilet.
I love it.
Because it was the only place that I could regulate how much sound was coming from the rest of the house. And so there was many classes. That was
broadcasting from the bathroom.
And all you could basically see was from here, and I actually had this drape behind, not this one, but a different drape behind me, so you couldn't see the towel rack, but the acoustics were great.
Yes, exactly. There's a reason people sing in the shower.
Well, and there's a reason that, one of the key things about living yoga is about flexibility, but not about touching your toes. It's about being willing to adapt and to let go of what your expectations and what your requirements are.
Yeah.
And so, all that said, for the first few months, I was here by myself. I had all of this space for me.
Yeah.
There's second floor, there's a studio space, there's 2 bathrooms, but all of that for me until we were able to start bringing folks back in.
Yeah. So. How long have you been doing yoga?
Since 2011, full time.
Okay.
Yeah, I started my yoga practice in 2009, and I came to yoga really out of desperation. I had taken a bike ride and fell off.
Oh.
And so I dislocated my shoulder, and I gave myself a concussion with some traumatic brain injury, and so I was on bed rest for over a year.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And so now remember, this is on the 10-year anniversary of having ridden my bike across country. So I'm not a beginner cyclist.
Yeah.
I just...
And back up a little bit to tell our audience that you rode 5,000 miles on a bike.
Yes, self-contained, meaning I carried my gear, I carried my tent. I lived in a tent for 4 months, stopping at state campgrounds and public campgrounds. The last part of that journey was in the mountains, the mountains of North Carolina. And it was cold in October. So that was a transition between my work in higher education and transitioning over to what I thought was going to be greener in corporate America. Now fast forward, right, and that's when we come to the bicycle accident, and that's what really shifted my life's work.
Yeah. Right?
So the life's work is a play. It's an English play on a Sanskrit word, dharma, which means what is your life's work? What is your purpose? And so life's work yoga became my purpose, not only to heal my own body and mind, when I was so incapacitated, and I've been incapacitated since with other kinds of surgeries and things, but that accident really taught me that my headspace wasn't a safe space. There's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of grief and sadness, disappointment. And so the yoga practice then was an invitation from my friend that brought me to yoga and said, I know you can't do anything. And I literally couldn't because I was so wounded. But I fell in love with the possibilities and the the way in which I could be enough without having to do anything perfectly.
Yeah,
And
that's
so that
great.
became my kind of my signature, is just in the sense that we tease around here, but all you gotta do is show up. We provide everything else, and as long as you're breathing, everything else is optional.
Yeah, that's great. I
So,
can do that.
right? Exactly.
Right?
It's not
Yeah.
about touching your toes. It's not
Yeah.
about, folding in half. It's about having the practices that are rooted in self-care, Dani,
Yeah.
right? That help us to live better.
Mm.
And it took me, I'm 50 something now. I can't actually keep track, but I'm 50 something now, and it took me, 35, 40 years to figure out that what I had learned about pushing and striving and getting shit done was not really helping me in the long run.
Yeah.
So having
Really
to
interesting.
reframe all that.
Yeah. And so you do classes here.
Yep, semi-private group practices, which means we have a maximum of 8 students. We do both virtual, meaning they can dial in live through our app, or they can attend in person in the studio. So I've got students that I have students that have joined us internationally as well as across the nation, particularly during the COVID time.
Yeah.
Because of the access now
Sure.
that we have with
Yeah,
digital.
and it's great.
It
I
is
mean,
great.
technology can be very good and useful.
But there's nothing like the shared space,
Yeah.
right? And having someone who is seasoned and really invested in this practice to help you notice what you can't yet notice about how your body is moving, breathing, and resting.
Yeah, yeah. What is, having gone on this literal journey for you and come here, what is your advice to people who might be in the midst of kind of that journey themselves?
I think we're all in a journey, and I call it shift, right? In the sense that life is the journey of learning how to navigate those shifts. And so it really does begin with finding that sense of compassion as opposed to competition.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think it really does help to have a guide, someone who has walked the path. And so show up and breathe.
Yeah.
Trust that if you give the attention, whatever you give that attention to is going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's great advice for every day, for everything. And
that's just it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's just, a change in jobs, a change in your age, a change in your season, a change in your favorite color.
Yeah.
All of those are a navigation of letting go of what's no longer true for you,
Yeah.
embracing what is, and then moving in the direction of what actually matters. And finding that sense of core alignment.
Yeah.
That's what I call transparent alignment.
Yeah. Fabulous advice. If you'd like to try a class, whether online or in person, Life's Work Yoga, I'll make sure the URL's on the screen for you. They can reach out, schedule an appointment, talk to you further. Stop by. This is such a cute place. And we wish you all the success in the world and hope that
Dani.
this journey fulfills everything you hoped it would.
It already is.
Yeah, I see that. All right. Thank you guys
you.
for watching. We'll see you next time.